here we have Ethereum versus the dollar. I believe we did a video on this one yesterday and like to follow up on this one. So yesterday we did say another swipe somewhere around the lows, whether that be between about 2,300 or perhaps all the way down to about 2,200 is likely. And we got that yesterday with that move down just to end the day, or at least for myself over here in Helsinki, Finland in the Eastern European time zone. But right now, showing a little bit of weakness in the short term. Again, we do have a bit of an event-driven market right now, so I would say that the most relevant way to be looking at this is simply from a 4-hour range perspective, and I would say that a 4-hour closure below your spike low from yesterday, 23.13, maybe even just coming back down below there is probably good enough to be quite honest with you, but if you do see that move happen, I'd be looking for one more retest of your current lows just below 2,200, and then the question is, do we play out our more corrective long-term targets, which I believe is where I believe that is the buy week. Yeah, that would be somewhere down around about 2,000 even, give or take $50 from that number. So a range between about 1,900 to 2,050 or so, or 2,100, something like that. At which point I would be looking for a greater bounce in this case. Keep in mind that we do have, or we did have, 1, 2, 3 drives of bearish divergence on the not on the 5-day, on the bi-weekly chart. Jesus Christ, man, that's rather nasty. So I do think that this one is going to be basing off somewhere a little bit lower, ultimately, kind of similar to Bitcoin as well, but I would call a short-term and actually medium-term range resolution to the upside with any sort of a 4-hour closure above the same area that we marked off yesterday. In fact, that's exactly where you saw your corrective and rejection coming in from yesterday, just at 27.22. It would be the same area today, and I would say that an hourly closure would also do it as well in this case. And at that point, I would be looking for big bounces back up towards 3,000 to maybe even as much as 3,300 in the following weeks. So with that said, I want to bring it out over here and look at it from a stochastic momentum perspective, just to see if this also kind of agrees with what I'm saying. And let's see, what is the daily looking like right now? The daily is actually up and freshly up and will be remaining with upside momentum as long as it's closed above 23.80. So obviously, if the short term and by extension, even the medium term time frame range resolution is to the downside below that validation area that we spoke about, you will see the daily momentum turn down as well. And there will likely be at least one more move lower, somewhere around, let's just say like 1,900 to just under 2,100, something like that, at which point I'd be looking for another bounce. Keep in mind, volatility rather high right here, so this is corrective at best in my opinion. And then the 5-day, similar to Bitcoin, is also going to have a chance to freshly turn up with any sort of a closure above 24.44, but that isn't coming today, it's not coming tomorrow, it's coming on Sunday, I do believe, at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And what happens in between now and then, well, that could be another, another dagger to the downside. And that's also not to say that it's guaranteed to close above that region. That's just the next sort of validating feature. Right now, it's actually trading below by a decent margin, in fact. So not great. Shorter term timeframes like a 4-hour are already under pressure and will be turning down yet again with any sort of a closure basically here or lower. And that is going to be confirmed in 59 minutes and 13 seconds, basically below 24.15. So if you see that, very likely downside first. Very likely downside first before another try to the upside. I think that'll do it for that one. I think we spoke about both the upside and the downside right here. 4-hour actually has a drive of hidden phantom divergence right there. In this case, I don't really trust these particular ones that much, but obviously would be suggesting a little more short-term downside than not. 12-hour is going to be doing what here? Not really giving me anything. Again, same sort of ranges right here. We are still looking corrective based off of our momentum and volatility indicators, and daily, same thing as well, man. So here is the one silver lining, or kind of like a consolation prize on the daily. You will very likely have bullish divergence forming on the next move, but that will imply a lower low close as well. So, the more and more that I kind of go around this market, I do see that there is a threat of another downside move here before a greater bounce. So hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for Ethereum, sir.